Hello there folks, my name is Spoonks and welcome back to another episode of Box Office Chat. This is the show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed, and see how well each movie did, so let's get started. Number 5 was Dog, making $3.9 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $54 million and a worldwide total of $61 million. So if you were to tell me earlier this year that not only would the movie Dog, yes, this movie, would not only surpass $50 million domestically, but make just enough to be on track to surpass films like Jackass forever, I would have called you insane. I said there is no way on earth that is ever happening. You are out of your crazy mind. But this is the world we live in, and here we are. The film has officially surpassed $50 million domestically against a budget of $15 million. That is insane, the fact that this movie was able to do so. Just even to get to where it's at, just how it was able to open so well is just magnificent. Once again, I've said it a lot, and I'll say it again, word of mouth has been superb. It's been able to maintain its core audience throughout its progressive weeks, and it is also really solid counter programming because it's just a small little quaint movie about Channing Tatum going on a road trip across the country with a dog, and I think many people are more interested in that than the typical blockbusters, even though those are definitely making a lot more. But this movie is still doing very well for itself. I'm very happy that it was able to do so. But this weekend will be very interesting to see where the movie goes after here because, well, it's at the bottom of the top 5 charts, and the star and director of the film, Channing Tatum, has another new movie hitting theaters, more on that later, that will definitely steal a large majority of this film's audience towards that. So it'll be interesting to see where this movie heads going forward against that movie and just the upcoming new movies hitting theaters throughout the rest of the month. And if this is the last time Dog is mentioned in this series and in the top 5, what a run, with other movies like Spider-Man No Way Home and The Batman, which we'll get to at the end of the video as well. You expect those movies to do well, but it's movies like this that surprise you and catch you off guard for doing as well and surprising you as much for doing as well as solid as this movie has done. That really makes me like doing these types of videos. I really like seeing the little surprises and sleeper hits. So yeah, all in all, Dog still bringing the heat and doing very well. Look forward to seeing where it goes from here. Number 4 was X, opening to $4.4 million this weekend domestically, and while it has opened in international markets, it didn't really have a huge boost on the total as a whole, so the worldwide total stays the same, $4.4 million. But even with that, this opening actually kind of impressed me. If you remember last week, I was discussing how movies like this and Amma and The Outfit were coming out, and I wasn't really sure if they were going to make enough to crack the top 5 given the lack of marketing I've seen for all of them. And this movie managing to do that and open to the extent it has is honestly quite impressive. I'm honestly very shocked to see this movie not only entering the top 5 but entering up as high as number 4, because I saw barely any marketing for this movie from where my standpoint is, at the very least. But no, it tapped into some people's interest enough to get it to where it is at the box office right now, which once again is very impressive, and I'm sure everyone is satisfied with how this movie is doing, especially given that it's an A24 film and those are much more limited release, and the fact once again did as well is quite impressive. I'm sure everyone who saw and loved this movie is happy. I'm sure the filmmakers are happy, and I'm sure A24 is happy. So much so that even before the movie released, they announced that a prequel to this movie is already being filmed right now. It's in the works, and that shows how satisfied they are with how this movie is doing. So right now, X is off to a pretty solid start. I'm not sure how long it will be in the top 5, or if it'll continue to have this magnum opus of, or maintaining that audience rather, throughout the weeks. But yeah, call me impressed. Very satisfied with how this movie started off right now. Number 3 was Uncharted, making 7.8 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of 125 million and a worldwide total of 336 million. Uncharted is still hanging on in there at the box office. It is kind of amazing how well this movie is still doing. I thought it would probably been knocked down a bit due to the negative reviews and negative reviews from fans of the games, but no, it's still hanging in there despite the very stiff competition in theaters right now. People are still going out to check it out. People still recommending it, which is really impressive given the movie we're talking about here. I honestly thought it would probably end up a little bit like Mortal Kombat in terms of its hold and the word of mouth, but again, no, people just really like it and really enjoy it, which is honestly fair enough. And in terms of video game movies, this is the 4th biggest video game movie of all time domestically. It surpassed the Angry Birds movie more than a couple weeks ago, and is about to surpass Lara Croft Tomb Raider, the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider movie from 2001, which is impressive. It's still got a couple ways to go to surpassing Detective Pikachu and Sonic the Hedgehog domestically, but anything can happen. And worldwide, I believe it is the 5th highest grossing video game movie of all time, though I could be wrong. It really depends where it is compared to Prince of Persia, though I think it's going to surpass that very soon. But otherwise, it sits behind the Angry Birds movie, Rampage, Pokemon Detective Pikachu, and Warcraft. Many people tend to forget how big of a hit that was internationally, specifically in China. But yeah, Uncharted is climbing up the charts there. It's amongst one of the biggest video game movies of all time domestically and worldwide. Not much more else to say here. It's just doing very solid right now. Not much more else to add there. Number 2 was, and I apologize if I mispronounce this name, but Jujutsu Kaisen 0, the movie, opening to $17 million domestically and adds to a worldwide total of 148 million. Now, I'm sure many of you are confused with how I phrased this film's weekend totals, because I said it opened domestically but added to a worldwide total. That is because it opened earlier in Japan. It actually opened on Christmas Eve, December 24th, 2021 in Japan, and did record numbers over there. It was a really big hit overseas, over there in Japan, which is why the worldwide totals and international numbers are so big for it over there right now. But even with that, this is still a very solid opening weekend for an anime movie, especially this movie in general. It was released in less than 3,000 theaters. I didn't even know it was coming out, and the fact that it's the 2nd biggest movie of the weekend is insane to believe. But it's also not that hard to believe as well, because we've been getting more and more of these anime limited release type movies over the past couple, well, not even couple, just in general, years, months even, because last year we had that Demon Slayer movie do pretty well opening weekend, and even that My Hero Academia movie also opened in, I believe, late October, did very well. It cracked the top of the chart. In fact, this opening weekend is the 4th biggest opening weekend for an anime film released in the US, behind the 3rd Pokemon movie, the Demon Slayer movie I just mentioned, and the 1st Pokemon movie. So yeah, this is a very solid opening weekend. It managed to crack double digits. It impressed me. Things are looking pretty solid for it at the moment, because typically with these types of movies, anime movies, they're very front loaded, meaning that everyone will go to rush and see it on that opening weekend, and then it'll plummet, and I mean plummet, in that following weekend. It happened with Demon Slayer, it happened with My Hero Academia, and I sense it might happen again here. It just follows a pattern I'm seeing with these movies. But that's not to harp on this movie per se. It's just that these movies are just, their fan bases will typically rush to see it on that first weekend, and that first weekend only typically. It's not to say this movie is doing bad or anything. Again, it killed it in Japan, and this is still not a bad opening, but I'm not so sure if it's going to have strong legs. But once again, this is a very solid opening weekend. It impressed me. I didn't even know it was coming out, and once again, second biggest movie of the weekend. That's impressive and something to congratulate yourself over. So, not a bad start for Jujutsu. We'll see if it can break the mold or if it will plummet next week. But right now, things are off to a pretty solid start. And finally, let's end the video off with the number one movie of the weekend, and that was, for the third week in a row, The Batman, making $36 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $300 million and a worldwide total of $600 million. So The Batman is still killing it at the box office. It has surpassed $300 million domestically, which is incredible, and $600 million worldwide, which is also incredible. It has become one of the biggest DC movies domestically and worldwide. I see no reason why this won't surpass films like Joker, Batman v Superman, and the original Suicide Squad from 2016. Not sure if it's gonna get to the totals of The Dark Knight, Dark Knight Rises, or Wonder Woman, but either way, this is still a massive hit. The word of mouth is very strong with this. It had around a 40% drop from last weekend. Another thing to celebrate about this movie, it continues to have very solid holds week after week. I know the competition is lacking per se right now, but still, the film is still having better, stronger holds within its weeks than something like Spider-Man No Way Home had during the holidays, which is insane. I'm curious to see where it will go after this upcoming weekend, because like I said before, there are numerous new blockbusters and big movies coming out next month, and those are going to be very stiff competition for the Batman to face, and that is definitely going to be the point where the film starts to lag a bit. Heck, it might even start to lag a bit this weekend, because we got our first major new wide release since, well, The Batman. It'll be interesting to see where this movie goes from here, but all in all, it's still the biggest movie of the year so far. It's made all the money it really needed to. It's made well over its $150 to $200 million budget. It's continuing to make even more off of that budget. It's still doing very well right now, but it will be interesting to once again to see where it goes from this point forward. Will it be like Spider-Man No Way Home, where no matter what you say, it'll keep on holding and bringing in that audience, or will we start to see a plummet in this film? Not to the extent of like 70-80% drops week after week, of course, but like maybe it'll start falling off the charts. I don't know, but right now, once again, The Batman is doing very solid right now, and it continues to do very well. Not much more else to add, but good job, Batman. And those were the top 5 domestic box office results for this weekend, but we're not quite done yet, as we've got another week ahead of us and new movies hitting theaters this weekend. And this weekend we have one new major release, that being The Lost City. This is a new adventure rom-com starring Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum, and this is kind of a wild card because, well, typically we don't usually get movies like this anymore, so it's kind of hard to judge, really. But right now, overall, there are ways this could work and not work. First off, there is certainly buzz for this movie. I have definitely heard a lot of people getting interested or even excited to see this movie and check it out. Reviews are solid for the most part. They're good, not great, but, still positive nonetheless, and Paramount definitely has shown some confidence in this movie. They gave it a promo during the Super Bowl, which was strange given the other movies that were given Super Bowl spots, but fair enough. And they've been doing early access showings for the past couple of days. They did one on Saturday, and they're doing a couple more throughout the week, so that definitely shows signs of confidence. And overall, it could have a solid opening weekend given the first major new release in theaters for quite some time. But The other thing is the marketing. The marketing has been okay from what I've seen. I've definitely seen some promotion for it, but not enough to where I say it is a good marketing campaign in my opinion. And what's also holding it back is the Batman. It has had stupendous holds throughout its entire theatrical run, and I don't think this movie is stiff enough competition to where the Batman needs to be worried about losing its number one spot. It's going to be a tight race for sure, but if the Batman has another solid hold like it has for the past couple of weeks, then there's no reason why I think this movie will not be the number one movie again. But if The Lost City definitely puts up a fight, it's gonna be something interesting to see here. It could be the number one movie, but we'll see how well this movie does, as well as the rest of the movies that land in the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's gonna do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied, unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all the social media links right there. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.